Okay, perfect. So thank you everyone for showing up today, and we are delighted to have this amazing topic and this wonderful speaker. So today we have Vaidya Gayatri, who's going to share understanding the Ayurvedic perspective of mental diseases and with special reference to anxiety. So this is like a really important topic because today there's no disease that's purely just physical. So there's always an emotional or mental connection with any disease that you see today. It's just the curse of the 21st century. So Dr. Gayatri is pretty renowned in her field. She's a PhD from India. So she spent a really long time studying Ayurveda. She's also been a teacher. So she's a professor in university. She's also been teaching in Europe. So she's taught across various countries. She's trained a lot of, practitioners and Ayurvedic doctors. So we are really amazed to have her, deliver this wonderful lecture for us. And I'll just give it to Dr. Gayatri and let her start her presentation. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Manjari, and very good evening to one and all. And I'm really happy to deliver my first lecture through this webinar, which is organized by the Ayurveda Association of Canada. So with a humble thanks, I would be starting with my presentation. And of course, with the blessings of Lord Dhanvantari, we would enter into the topic of the mystery of mind. So this is the topic of the day, which is about mind, which says specifically we'll be talking about its Ayurvedic point of view, and it's specifically topic about anxiety, its management, how to diagnose it, what are the clinical features, and how can we manage it as a clinician or as a therapist. So that's my number displayed and my email also for your reference. So before we start the story of the mind, we should know the story of the life. As per Ayurvedic perspective, we all know the life is a four-dimensional identity. The four-dimensional means body, senses, mind, and soul. And we are all the time worried about how to take care about our body, how should we look beautiful, which shampoo to use, which color to wear, which suit to wear, and all that. But, and how to look clean, take a shower every day, and all that. But how many of us are actually worried about cleaning the mind? Because that's the most important link between body senses and the soul. Soul being the part of God in us, which actually proves, the first principle of this Ayurvedic philosophy proves that we are all a part of God. We are all carrying that soul in us, which is part of God. So we all are mini gods. So the first lesson we learn from this is we should be loving ourselves because we have that God in us, and we should be loving others also because they also have that mini God in him. Now coming to the mind, which is a mystery for all of us. You can see in the image. Is it lying in the brain or somewhere else, or is it just about thoughts, the processing of the thoughts, what actually it is? So after studying Ayurveda for so long, I've tried to make it a little bit easy for you all. For me, I think it is the private secretary of the soul, because it is connecting very well with the soul. Soul is not processing information by itself, right? So there is collection of information through the external faculties like various organs or the senses. That information is processed and that is presented to the soul through mind. So mind is the bridge, and based on all the information, we have intellect, which is called buddhi, which is intermediary, and which is able to take the decision. So right or wrong decision capacity is decided by your intellect, which decides, and the soul is just watching everything. The part of God is just guiding us the right thing and letting us stay away from the wrong thing. So that's what is mind is, according to Ayurveda, made very simple. Now, It's very basic. Most of the people who are attending this webinar may be knowing it, but it's good to repeat the concept. The two main qualities of mind mean minute and just one in number. That means you have just one mind in your mind and not many of them. Although it seems like I can do 10 things at a time and I can manage everything. I'm able to listen, grasp, write at the same time. I am able to drink something, watch a movie, everything at the same time. But actually, it is so minute and so quick, so fast, that it seems like it is many, but it is only one in number. And extremely minute, so you just can't see. It's a mystery still for the modern scientists where it is and how does it look like. Now, coming to the components of mind, which we haven't seen, we don't know, but that is something we need to believe in, because these are the three main forces, the three main entities or the dimensions of the mind itself, which we can call as components of mind. We all know they are sattva, which is the pure part, rajas, which is the fiery part, and tamas, which is the dark part. So that sattva we all know, it's the pure mind with absolute balance, which is the main guiding force and directly influenced by the soul that you have. It is the only flawless guna in you, which is for the mind. And rajas is for activity and dynamism, like all the activities, the thought processes which ignite you, which enthusiast you, which excite you, which are the driving forces are due to the rajas character in your mind. And last but not the least, the darkness or the inertia which actually blocks your thought processes is because of the tamas quality of mind. So a little bit going deeper, sattva, the main quality, which is the first quality, which is actually flawless, and the more you have, the more healthy your mind is. So that should be the aim of everyone, including ourselves, the practitioners, that how can we increase the sattva component of our mind? Because that's the one which is pure state of mind, which is not having that envy or jealousy with the rise of others, which is clear, which is always having pleasure, like a small baby who's innocent, is free from negativity of life, and is responsible for the perception of the knowledge through the proper mental functioning. So that's what sattva is for. When rajas comes, it's the activity begins, when you are thinking of something like a new idea and you want to activate that idea and you want to be stimulated and you want to bring it into action, the rajas component should be dominating in mind. So that's also one quality of mind which is very, very important, making your, psychology balanced. But when it is too much, when the rajas becomes too much, what happens is too many desires, too much of ego, too many wishes, too many ambitions, and frickleness or instability of mind. So, of course, today's topic, what we are going to discuss, is about anxiety neurosis, or we call it Chittodwega in Ayurveda. So Chittodwega is basically the disease entity or the problem because of excess of rajas guna. If we are able to, complement this rajas guna with sattva and tamas, like you see, this circle should be complete. If one of the quality is increasing, then the other ones get imbalanced, except sattva. If sattva is increasing in you, the tamas and rajas are getting less in you, you're going closer to God, you are becoming more positive and positive. So today I'll be telling in my, of course, webinar how we can, get rid of this too much rajas in this rajasic world. But last is the tamas, which is giving you the resistance to follow anything, the heaviness or the inertia of the thoughts, and it causes inactivity. Well, this also is actually needed for a healthy mind, because when you are processing something, when you are thinking about something, when you have an idea, when you are doing some activity due to rajas, ultimately after some time, you need to take rest. you need to block those ideas and go to sleep. You need to, have a break from all that action in your mind. So that's why the tamas quality is also there in everybody's mind. So that, but when it is too much, when tamas becomes too much, it causes false knowledge, too much of laziness, apathy towards others, too much of drowsiness and sleep, and a feature or a clinical entity called depression. So the psychological problem called depression is because of too much of tamas, but anxiety is because of too much of rajas. So this is again a slide which is actually compiling the three. What kind of characters these people have, we all know. So I think I should skip it. Coming to the location of mind, which is, very beautifully described in Bhel Samhita, which tells us when the mind has to work, it goes to its office, which is the brain. And when it needs to rest, it comes back to its home, which is the heart. So it is very well described, very beautifully. That's why we say that you should have a heart to fall in love. Because the mind, when it is rest, when it is relaxed, it is in your heart. And then that's the time when you fall in love with somebody. So not from your brain, right? So brain is for activity and all the neurotransmitters, which current scientists are depicting as the functions of mind, but it is much more than that, much more than that. Now, what is the rule of mind? It has some rule. It is not just doing anything without rules. The first rule that it is following is that it gets connected with only one faculty at one time, and it's dictated by the desire of the soul. So only one faculty at one time, one sense organ at one time, whatever information is being given to it. So one at a time, because it is just one in number, but very quick. You can't even think about the time, how quickly it works. A little bit of Sanskrit terminology is there in this slide, but let's see the English version of it. This is about the functions of the mind as per Ayurveda. So it says that the first function is Indriya Vigraha. That means ability to comprehend things through sensory organs. That means what the sensory organs are giving us as an information, mind should be able to understand that. That if a sense organ is giving you an information that something is cold, the mind grasps that information and understands it, that yes, the touch is cold, right? Then mano nigraha, that means controlling its own mind. So control of the mind is also a function of the mind, which is about telling you or directing you the right or the wrong, or choosing, deciding what is good or what is bad for you. So that's the mental control. This refers to one of the functions of the mind. That means we say that his mind is weak or his mind is very strong. He has a very healthy mind. He has a very weak mind. What does that all mean? Those statements mean that these functions of the mind are either being taken care very well, which is a healthy mind. If it's a weak mind, then either it is not able to comprehend with the sensory organs, or it is not able to control itself, or uha, that means it is not able to guess different possibilities, and last, it is not able to discriminate between right and wrong. So this, although the final decision is taken by buddhi, I told you, but mind also gets the idea from the senses that what is right and what is wrong, because that's one function of it. Now in Ayurveda, we have been very clearly defined with the causes of the mental ill health. Why do we suffer from psychiatric illnesses? The causes are very clearly defined. Improper diet. First of all, we all know the wrong combinations of diet, the rajasic diet, the tamasic diet, the unhealthy combinations, wrong time, all those we all have been telling our patients already. Actions committed in this birth, that means something wrong we are doing to somebody, if we are hurting somebody by our thoughts, by our actions, by our deeds, would also come back to us. That's very clearly written in Ayurveda, that whatever action you do, there will be a reaction coming back to us, and that is going to disturb our psyche as well. Bad deeds done in the last birth. So, my dear friends and fellows, you can't just get rid of your last birth deeds so easily, because you need to pay for that also. Because sometimes we don't know why this is happening to a child, why this is happening to somebody very nice. Maybe in the last life, because Ayurveda believes in Punarjanma and the last birth and the previous birth theory. So there is a reason for that also. Too much of physical illnesses, chronic illnesses, overindulgence in activities, we know, because body affects mind and mind affects body. We all know that. Severe stress these days, we call stress. We use this word too much. And that itself, of course, is the cause of most of the problems. Unfavorable personal, familial, social environment. So a Pitta woman getting married to a Pitta husband, that will be a problem for both of them, and we might have some manic issues with both of them. Now, this is something which I would like to emphasize very much. It says that negative feelings are emotional toxins, and if they are not driven out of the body in stipulated time, they give rise to chronic mental disorders. For example, just two of them I've named, there are so many, like. So that is something very clearly should be understood, that the feelings or emotions are like toxins if they are bad. If they are negative, they are like toxins. But if they are positive or good feelings, they are like healthy feelings, healthy food for your mind. So I'll be explaining this a little bit in detail in my coming slides also. After all that description of functions and sight, Ayurveda talks about how to keep your mind clean. It talks very well about how to keep the mind clean. Like in my first slide, I was talking, let's not just be limited to good shampoos and good stuff for cleaning ourselves. Let's see this aspect, which says that there should be good conduct. There should be a rasayana, means achar rasayana, means the code of conduct which should be followed by all of us. And we should be able to control some of the urges which are actually bad, which are not good for any one of us, like kama, krodha, lobha, moha, ahankar, like lust, ego, selfishness, jealousy, hatred, anger, etc. So those are the feelings or the emotions which are very toxic, and Ayurveda very clearly says that those should be controlled by our mind. And of course, some of the rules which are very clearly told, some of the personal, mental, like they can be classified into some different categories. Some mental rules to be followed, some ethical practices to be followed, social rules like please give a seat to somebody elder or a lady, and say pranam to your parents and guru when you wake up in the morning, offer prayers, go to the temple or whatever religious place you are following. And some personal, of course, the way to remain clean, the way to eat the things, the way to study, the way to exercise, the way, or how to have sex. Everything is defined very clearly in Ayurveda texts and samhitas, which if actually anybody is following, can never have any psychiatric illness. He is going to be really a very sattvic person and is able to even heal others. So this is something which actually we forget, and we think, oh, this is just theoretical, how stupid, how boring, and how outdated these things are. But actually these are the solutions. Now coming to the Medha, because it talks about this dimension of the mind as well, which is the intellect. And it says that the mind is having conjunction with the intellect, and intellect has three dimensions. Dhi, Dhriti, and Smriti. And Dhi is the grasping power, Dhriti is the analytical power, and Smriti is the memorizing power. So altogether, they are being governed by the Buddhi and work in coordination with the mind. And so there is a concept of Medha in Ayurveda, which is unique to itself. And which says that if you, apart from following the SADVRITTA, Achar-Rasayan, Dharaniya, Vek Dharan, apart from that, if you want to really boost up your memory and perform, enhance your performance in various faculties, you should take these herbs like Brahmi, Shankapushpi, Yashtimadu, Mandukaparni, and Guduchi, etc. 4 of the main Medha Rasayanas have been told by Charak Samhita in Rasayan Adhyay. There are a few more. And in next slides, I'll be talking more about the anxiety-specific herbs, right? So there are a few diets also which could be Brahman Medha Rasayan, means which on a regular basis we should give to our children, our kids, our family members, and take ourselves also, so that the mind gets nourishment in a good way. For example, ghee. I'm emphasizing a lot on ghee today. I'll be talking a lot about it today. Clarified butter, which is called ghee, which is made after melting the unsalted butter. The procedure is something most of us know, otherwise you can Google. It's something very strongly medhya, very good for your mind. These days, for the last 50 years, there have been debates. Oh, it is increasing cholesterol. It's not good for the body. Please don't take it. The doctors are. I'm really sorry to say that they have been misguiding the whole society, the whole world throughout for the last 50 years. And now they are coming back to the point that, yeah, no, it increases the healthy cholesterol, so it can be taken. So my dear friends and fellows who belong to India, they know that their mothers have been feeding them ghee with all their rotis and dals, and which has been very good. And please continue taking that and giving it to your kids and family members. But please don't fry it or put it on paratha or a tawa or anything which is going to burn it. When you have your recipe or thing made and just take it out in a bowl or something, put ghee over it and drink it or eat it with it. You are not going to be fat with ghee, never. Just 1 or 2 spoons of ghee in your every diet is not going to increase the weight. Remember, it's going to rather increase your agni, not the weight. And also very, very nourishing for your mind. So actually your mind is full of myelin sheaths and all the myelinated neurons, and it needs some lubrication all the time. We call it tarpakaf is there in the mind. If you are not having any healthy stuff like ghee, it will be deprived of it, and then you will have signs of memory going down and higher functions of brain being compromised, which we say in the present terminology. A lot of almonds you can take with ghee. Soaked almonds are very good. Cow milk, it's the debatable issue, I know, but as per Ayurveda, if a cow milk is taken in a warm way with ghee and almonds, it's very good Medha Rasayan. Yashti madhu or licorice, also in the form of milk and water being cooked together. Khajur, or we call that dates. Yeah, they can be used as well as a health drink. Darim avle, darim is pomegranate. You should be taking a lot of pomegranate. You can make it as a paste or make it as a drink, as an appetizer. It's also very good. Draksha panak, which is made of raisins, is very good an appetizer for people who are not, having good appetite. It works very well for them. Then ashwagandha burfis, shatavari burfis could also be cooked, or you can just take them as a churna for increasing your intellect. Now, this was all about diet. We had about the rules and regulations, and now I'm coming to the Devaprasha Chikitsa, which is non-pharmacological approach to psychiatric problems. This is something in general I'm talking right now. And I'll be coming to anxiety just after this. So Ayurveda actually recognizes all these things as very important aspects of healing any psychiatric problem. Chanting of mantras, of course, herbs we have talked about, auspicious stones, keeping them in house or wearing them, offerings to God, and donations, having yagya or home, following the niyama. Prayashchit means something if you have done in the past which was wrong, which you are guilty of, should be confessed and should be, confessed before God. And then you should be praying towards let it go and leave you, because the negativity of it will not leave you until you do the prayashchit for it. Means doing something good to somebody in as a return, and doing the prayashchit for that. That's what is followed in Hindu mythology. In between fasting also. Here the fasting actually doesn't mean fasting from food. In Chakrapani, commentary, it's very clearly said that here the fasting means fasting from thoughts. Too many thoughts, all the time disturbing our minds. Too much of information coming to the mind is too much for the mind to take. So upavas means when take some time out of the day and just relax and chill. Don't talk to anybody. Have your own time. Just listen to some mantra and don't take any other negative feeling inside you. That's really going to heal you very fast. This is something I'm telling the patients. Is something which sounds very strange to them, but that works very well. There are some techniques which we are using in Ayurveda to uplift the sattva, that means the mental stamina. What is sattva is mental stamina. So there are some techniques, educating the patient, giving him the knowledge of the scriptures, spiritual knowledge, abstaining from overintelligence in the materialistic world, telling him that you are connected with God and God is going to heal you. You need to help yourself. So boosting the morale and all that techniques. Now coming to the topic of the day, which is this anxious woman. She doesn't know what to do, so disturbed, her eyes coming out and howling here and there. That's what is typical of an anxiety patient, which we call as a Chittodwega. So I've written the dosha dominant is Vata. And when you see, talk in terms of the mental doshas, it's the Rajas. Now, how to recognize a patient of anxiety, that's very important, because sometimes, the patient doesn't say or doesn't admit that he has anxiety. He wants to pose or say that, oh, I'm all right. I just have, fatigue and headache and I feel spaced out. That's all. Otherwise, I'm okay. So, I'm going to tell you the symptomology from head to toe, how to get the idea, right? So if you see the head, he or she will be spaced out, run out of thoughts, irritable, fatigue, very tired, headache, lack of concentration would be his problem, restless, with all, either the feet being tapped by him or forgetfulness. And if it is too much, then it will cause insomnia in the head, of course. Eyes would be blinking frequently, or there will be unsteady gaze. So once the patient enters the practice, he would be observing everything and eyes would be going here and there and going to absorb you as well. Usually the mouth is dry because of the sympathetic overactivity, we know, the scientific reason behind anxiety, and difficulty in swallowing if it is really too much. Lips would be dry too. Well, behind the lipstick, it's difficult to identify, but may have some tremors in the lips as well. Hearts, when you see the CVS system, he or she will complain of his heartbeat being heard to him or her. We call it palpitation. So blood pressure might also be rising, and if it's too much anxiety, then they have pain in the chest or in the heart region. When we see the respiratory system, they will be hyperventilating. That means too much of air being ventilated through them. So like that, features like that. Coughing very frequently, dry cough, and dyspnea, that means difficulty in breathing sometimes. Sometimes the patient comes with only this feature, or the family brings the patient with only this feature, that he has or she has hyperventilation or dyspnea or difficulty in breathing only. But when you look at the cause, you take the history, when you examine, you come to know that it's actually anxiety. Well, GIT, of course, gets upset. We all know we have an enteric system in the gut as well, and that gets disturbed by anxiety, and that causes too much wind in the stomach or indigestion, a lot of belching, sometimes diarrhea, poor appetite, and cramps as well. Urine frequency will be increasing as the level of anxiety increase. And in children, anxiety causes bedwetting. So if children are having bedwetting, that means the reason is anxiety. They are having some fear in the mind or some disturbance in the mind because of some reason. If you see the reproductive organs or system, there is definite loss of libido in case of anxiety patients, which is not normal. And some of the patients actually come for the treatment of that, yeah, I'm not having interest in sex, or I'm having premature ejaculation, please treat me, doctor. But the reason is actually excessive rajas, which causes anxiety. Now coming to next, which is psychiatric examination. As per Ayurveda, when you see such a patient, you need to assess what is the severity of the illness. So you need to take his hereditary and genetic background. If there is some familial issue as well, then the prognosis is slightly difficult. His own, of course, prakriti analysis in terms of the dosha and triguna cannot be ruled out. Mental stamina that you can assess by, whether he's able to do some task, or the willpower checking is what is the pravara, avara, or madhyam sattva is about. Then there should be questions about his lifestyle, what he's eating, what he's doing whole day, where is he going, what time he's sleeping, and any questions or any doubts should be also asked about it. There are some psychological factors given by Charak and Nidan Sthan which need to be actually examined. This is 8-fold psychiatric examination as per Ayurveda, which talks about status at that time. You can judge his thinking to you and or the information he's having, his orientation, whether it's okay or not, his memory and learning capacity by having few tests, small tests of remembering few digits and something. Bhakti test by the desires or the longings he is having in his mind, his habits, or the way he sits, the way he behaves with you, is all the psychomotor functions, the way he, is corresponding with you. And finally, his conduct and behavior need to be assessed. So just please, if you really want to diagnose from the Ayurvedic point of view and treat it from the Ayurvedic point of view, make a chart of these points and assess the patient as per this protocol. Although we have the modern protocol also, we have Hamilton and Beck inventories also, which are very specifically for anxiety, right? This is about how to take history. You have to be very patient, very calm, very friendly with the person who has come for the therapy to you. And please don't forget to ask for any sensitive or embarrassing details which might be relevant. Any guilt he's having, anything wrong which he has been doing, or any bad habit he wants to quit which he is not able to, or any embarrassing situation which has happened to him or her in the past. So this is something which is important. And this is the scale I'm following with my patients, which is the oldest and the first one used by all, most of the psychiatrists. This is Hamilton Anxiety Scale. It's very simple to use. You can download, you can see it in the Google. There are 14 questions in it, which are related to various symptoms, fear, about disturbance, autonomic system, about all different aspects. Hamilton has classified, and he has made 14 questions out of it, and which each has 5 options. And then there is 5 now. Depending upon the score, the higher the score, more severe is the anxiety problem. So what you can give him the category that whether it is severe, moderate, or mild, and then whatever number of points he has scored. Then once he comes for follow-up, check again for that, whether you are going in a negative direction or whether he is improving. So then you can tell the patient that you're doing good on the score, or you're improving, like that. So this is something for the objective assessment of anxiety we can use. Now comes the most interesting part, that how to handle different dosha types as patients, which is actually a game of a mind for the clinician or the therapist as well. We have different types of people, prakritis, but let me talk about the 3 main dosha prakritis right now, right? So when they come to you as patient, what should be your strategy to take them into your hand and not them let go? So a Vata person, psychology, when he or she is coming to you, is usually nervous or anxious, worried, and most of the 90% of the patients of anxiety neurosis, they fall into Vata category actually. And so they are very easy to recognize, or they're always at unrest or unease, and they are always in doubt about themselves, about their problem, about the doctor, about the therapy, about the treatment being provided to them. And they might be over enthusiastic in the beginning. Some of them are, very good, I'm very excited to receive this treatment, I'm very excited to have these herbs and like that, blah blah blah. And after a few days they are done with it. No, I've lost interest and I want to change the doctor. So it's very difficult to retain them, but your regular effort or your sincere effort and handling them like a flower is what is recommended for Vata patients. Actually, they are looking for sympathy and they want assurance. This is something which I want to emphasize upon. They want assurance again that they can be healed from you, also from their family and people they are close to. So if possible, have a meeting with their friends or family whom they are close to with. They are very happy to receive the advice given by you, but they will not follow very well. I'm sure I'm going to tell you this. So don't get upset, because they are like that. And yes, they have some fluctuations. They need to be given task every time, every time some practical session should be done with them. Like you did the scoring for the first time, they would find it interesting. Next time, do something else, ask some different questions, give a simple treatment to them, maybe a head massage or something. Third time, do something else. So they need variety and change in the treatment protocol. They get bored very easily. So that's something important to be kept in mind. And of course, they love warmth and calmness of your mind. They talk a lot, so you have to be very patient. Please don't interrupt them while they're describing their problem. This is the main tip which I can give to all the practitioners here. Pitta patients, they usually don't come with anxiety issues, very less. They are usually suffering from manic disorders like anger disorders or fury complaints and breakups with their partners, and then due to their anger episodes. But they might also have this anxiety episode. What they how do they come to you is, they know a lot. They know what they are. They know what you are telling them. They've already searched it on the net. So they usually come after studying about what you are going to tell them. They are fascinated by the degrees that you have. They are fascinated by the fancy setting of your clinic or the practice that you have. They are fascinated by of course, the accreditations or the logical facts that you're going to put up before them. So be careful. Vata doesn't know all that. But Pitta is impressed by the facts and the figures and the logics that you're giving them, So whenever handling a Pitta person, please describe in detail and logically in a scientific language that how this herb is going to do, how this Shirodhara, what is the mechanism of Shirodhara and how it is going to help you, how Nasya can go through the door of the brain and, all that things. They can be very direct. They can even ask you your qualification and clearly ask you about your experience. They can be very rude too. So be prepared to handle such people also. But once they are logically convinced, they are the best patients. I've seen in my practice, they are very, very good followers. And once they are done, they are very good. You can't command them. Never forget, never do that. Please don't command a Pitta patient. Don't direct him. Instead, be a friend to him or her and say, okay, I'll do this for you and you do this for me. And together we will heal or solve your problem. So you have to be very friendly, calm, and cool with them because they are very furious. So, delicate and you have to be very diplomatic in handling them. Kapha is something, usually they come with depression problems, right? I'm talking about the frequency. They usually have depression issues, but if they have some other issue in general, how to tickle them, how to handle them is by giving them shock. You have to stimulate them. You have to push them hard. You have to give them a start and then kick them again and again and again. Call them more frequently for discussions or asking about what did you do? So did you follow this or not? And if suppose they are having 10 cigarettes a day or too much of alcohol or suppose anything wrong they are doing, they can't be just handled only with love. They should be made, you can say, they should be made afraid of. They should be made shocked of, means give them shock. Oh my God, you're having this, you're ruining your life. This can damage your lungs, your intestine, you're this, you're that, and you will suffer from this cancer, this, that. Your family is going to suffer. And then they will be like, they'll wake up from their sleep and then they'll listen to you and they'll start following. Of course, too much of this is going to disturb them. So be careful. But of course, start or ignite them with some criticism also, They accept the criticism, they follow. And they don't, they love directions. They love directions. So you can guide them, give a written protocol, what it should be done, what should be eaten, what time. They would usually write. They would follow without questioning everything. And they would follow as well, So this was about how to handle different types. Now coming to the same theory which I was talking in the beginning. You need to tell your patients, educate your patients while counseling that emotions are like food for your mind. Like your body needs food for its growth and its health. Your mind has emotions to feed upon. So just like wrong food causes ill effects to the body, same way negative emotions cause ill effects to the mind. This is something I firmly believe in. I very strongly believe in. Don't expose yourself to negative people, negativity around you, or negative emotions dwell in you. And so that's why if you want to change the mind, we must change what we feed it with. Remember, it's for actually all of us as well. So if we take good information, we process it fine, the buddhi processes it fine, and the soul is happy, and you are a happy individual. Now, of course, we can't overlook the diet when we are treating a psychiatric patient, especially an anxiety patient. Since it is too much of rajas, if you remember, we have to balance it with sattva. So the sattvic diet, we all know, the yogic diet, we all know, is whole grains, cooked veggies, warm water, soaked almonds, warm milk, seeds like pumpkin seeds and raisins, a lot of ghee, once again, a lot of ghee, and honey. So natural things. I've mentioned it, cooked veggies. So, you know what happens in the West, I've seen the criteria of healthy diet is raw salads, raw fruits, making a smoothie in the morning, going to the office, and coming back, having a salad in the afternoon, and a lot of water, too much of water the whole day. And they think they are taking very, very healthy diet, which is actually wrong. You need to educate the patient that that cold smoothie is actually going to do nothing for your anxiety. You need to have something warm, warm massages, warm diet, warm food, and, you know, some Medha rasayanas as diet, like almonds and milk. So tell them logically that why? Because vata is cold, vata is dry, vata is rough, and causes agitation. So you need to cancel it, or you need to neutralize it with some rich, nutritive diet, and warm oil massage, and a lot of rest and a lot of relaxation. Okay. Of course, say no to Rajasic diet. And what is Rajasic diet? All the junk food that is available around us. It's actually Rajasic. Too much of spicy, sour. It's a lot there in Indian food too. So don't say go to Indian restaurant and have food. They also have a lot of Rajasic menu. So a lot of chilies, wine, pickles, mayo, sour cream, vinegar, alcohol, and coffee. So these, the last two items, specifically coffee, is taken a lot here in the West. And that coffee is a very strong stimulant. It doesn't let you go to sleep and relax. It doesn't let the tamas to come and take its action. So the coffee should actually be taken off the diet completely. Yeah. Now it's about simple tips. What should he or she, the patient, should be exposed to, which can help him actually heal. Which sounds are good for him? Some peaceful mantra, background at house or in the office or in the car, all the time into his mind. Huh? Not the touch of a warm oil massage. Taste of cooked food, which is soft, warm, and sweet. Smell of mild fragrances. The strong fragrances are going to stimulate him again. So the fragrances have to be flower fragrances, floral fragrances, very simple and power yoga, not the hot yoga that the people are doing here. Simple stretchings, relaxing, pranayama, and meditation. Just relaxing in a hot tub, lying in the hot tub is really going to help him a lot. Gentle and very mild exercises are advised, not too severe. Not doing the treadmill, not going to the gym is going to help the person. Emotional support of family and friends is very, very important, and that plays a very important role. And spiritual awakening, the last but not the least. If he or she is believer of God, then it's easy for you to tell him the importance of prayer, the importance of idols, the importance of worship, everything. But if that's not the case, and if he's a Pitta, then it's very difficult to make him understand this importance of spiritual practices. Now, you know, you do Panchakarma for the body, and we get the toxins, get rid of the body from different orifices, like we do Vamana, Virechana, Basti, and Nasya. There can be detoxification of the mind also, you know. Have you ever thought about it? And that says that number one principle of detoxification of mind is stop taking toxins. That means no to the junk emotions. And what are those junk emotions? Remember, lust, greed, jealousy, hatred, ego, negativity, etc., etc. Nourish your buddhi component. And how can you do that? You can be in the company of positive sages. Like, if not, you can have their lectures, you can have their spiritual teachings, and you can have them their pictures on the wall to inspire you, or you can just watch them and meditate seeing them. The third point is fasting from emotions, negative emotions or any other emotions. So just sit in calm and quiet environment, just be relaxed and just do fasting from emotions, which is actually very relaxing. And in the end, if they are too much, if the emotions are too much, and if you want to cry, just cry. Just let them go off, which is going to clean your mind up, because they are getting some way to get out of your body. Now, talking about, oh my God, the time is quite high. Anxiolytic herbs specifically, we know the list is, I'm talking Jatamansi, Shankhapushpi, Madhuyashti, Ashwagandha, Shatavari, Bala, Valerian, which actually works as Tagar, as the last herb we have in the list. So these are the most anxiolytic herbs, but be careful in choosing them one by one, or you can have a good combination of them by different suppliers here in Canada as well. Jatamansi is specifically for sleep, and or if there is some high blood pressure. Shankhapushpi, if there is some cognitive dysfunction, is also there. Some memory problem is also associated with anxiety. Madhuyashti, if the patient is lean and thin, and typically Vata Prakriti. Ashwagandha as a nervine tonic, as additive nervine tonic and anti-anxiety drug. Shatavari for all the females, just give it like that with some other anxiolytic. Just add it on, it acts as 1 and 111, and it works very well because it takes care of the loss of libido and the reproductive problems as well. Valerian, whether it's American or European, again for sleep and makes you calm down. The classical yogas we have, Brahmi Grit, Kalyana Grit, Kushmandavle, Sarasvatarishtam, Manas Mitra Vadakam, very good for inducing sleep, very good results with it. Brahmivari for increasing the cognitive functions, and Mukta Pishti if too much anger is also associated with anxiety. So that's, you can choose one or two or all of them. Now coming to Panchakarma, very quickly I would be coming. Abhyanga plays a very important role, and it has to be with some warm oil. You can simply use sesame oil. It works very well, or any anti-vata oil with Vahanarayan or Lagu Bishkar or Bala Ashwagandhadi oil does very well. Snepan, Mahakalyana Grit is very good. It's giving excellent results in all the psychiatric patients I'm dealing with. And just 30 ml, you can start with 2 spoons in the morning, and then tell them to fast for an hour and don't take anything after that. And then take the herbs and start with their schedule thereafter. It works very well. Nasya, you can do it with simply cow ghee if you have nothing else. You can start with cow ghee, and it really helps in getting down the anxiety levels. So you can train the patients or do it in your clinic. Shirodhara has magical effects. It's the best of all in managing anxiety patients. So it works like just amazingly. You can do it with oil, warm oil. In the West, it's preferred. If the patient is hypertensive, I mean high blood pressure is also associated, then better to do it with buttermilk. Buttermilk is, again, you should bring it to the lukewarm temperature and pour it over the head, just like the dhara. Some people use decoctions also with Brahmi and Shankapushpi, but that's not possible here in the West. So oil, Shirodhara is doing amazing results. If you don't have that big setup of doing Shirodhara, you can simply do Shiropichu with Shirbala Tel. That also works. So in females who have very lot of hair, you can just make the partition and reach to the Tal Hriday, the marma here, and just pour a lot of Shirbala oil over here and cover it with the swab, and it works also. And patients who are actually losing weight and they are very unstable, too much anxious, you have to treat them from their gut as well. So Anuvasan Vasti or Matra Vasti with Bala Ashwagandhadi Telam or Bala, Brahmi Grit also I've tried. 30 ml Brahmi Grit I've given through the anus as well sometimes, and it works. Because you have a tongue down in anus, you have a mouth down in anus without tongue, so that also works. There's one trick I'm following with the patients, like we call it reciprocal inhibition principle, and which says that tell the patient to write different things which are provocating anxiety. So in one order. So, and then tell him to confront them from in ascending order. Suppose he's afraid of his mother-in-law. So number 1, number 2, some neighbor, number 3, any other thing. So tell him to face them and, confront them. Start with the lowest first and go to the next level and next level. And gradually it really helps getting down. We all know Shavasana, Yoga Nidra, and meditation trainings of different kinds. How wonderful. Their role is completely, that needs another lecture to talk about how does that all work. These are a few tips to beat anxiety. If you have a patient in your setup and he comes, what to do if I'm panic? What can I do? So tell them to go to a beauty parlor, have a nail art done or a massage done, and just relax and see a match or just listen to the mantras, take a bath, practice nasya, sit in nature, go to the woods, appreciate the nature, massage your feet before going to bed, just lie on a couch doing nothing. Foster lovely relationships, look at the photographs or the old albums that you have, read an inspiring book if you have, listen to soft music, especially the mantra music, and do yoga and meditation. And these are a few Medha recipes, which I think I'm having short of time, just 2 recipes I've put. I think you can see that it's the ingredients, and ultimately I have to switch off and say thank you to all of you. May God bless you with a healthy mind. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you, Manjari. I think we can be open for a discussion. I took a lot of time, but...
Thank you so much. It was such a wonderful talk, and it was really important, like we need to know about that. You shared some really amazing strategies. So I'm sure all our listeners, all our, participants have had like really good
That's good.
knowledge, they're really happy. So I'll see if there are any questions that people have for... So Rujita has a question. She's asking, how can we ask Western people to practice, or how can we motivate them to stay or become spiritual?
See, spirituality has nothing to do with East or West, my dear. It is something which is your inner soul is telling you always to do. Spirituality doesn't mean doing havan only or sitting before Ganesha and doing the Ganesha mantra or something like that. It's about having the right thought and doing the correct behavior to others and not hurting anyone, trying to heal others, trying to help others. So tell them with these positive notions. Tell them with the SADVRITTA guidelines first, the Achar Rasayan first. That's what is nothing but spirituality, you know. It's something going to connect you with the right soul and the right the Atma in you, something which satisfies you at the end of the day. And then tell them, okay, you can have this idol in your office in front of you, some meditation spot in front of you. Just do it, just try it once. You would like it, you know. Incorporate gradually, not so many things at one time. Otherwise they'll say, oh, he or she is just you know, popularizing Hinduism or something like that.
Yeah, and see, I've had that question a lot, you know, in my practice, because I live in Sarnia and a lot of population is Catholic, you know, and they're very staunch. So sometimes some of them even have an objection to yoga, right? So if you ask them to meditate, so they're like, okay, but it's against my religion. But spirituality, as you know, Dr. Gayatri rightly said, it has nothing to do with religion. Spiritual is with connecting within, it's with connecting to the higher self. So it doesn't matter if you believe in Jesus, if you doesn't. It doesn't matter if you believe in anyone. It doesn't matter if you believe in nobody, then believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
Right? And just do the greater good.
Yeah. Don't hurt anyone. Do the right things. Do your duty well. That's what Lord Krishna is telling you. Do your karma. And if they don't want to listen to the name of Lord Krishna, don't tell it. Just tell them the way they want to listen to.
Yeah. So we have a question from Catherine. With individual recovering from abuse of substances through the nose, do you still use Nasya or is it contraindicated?
No. It's actually indicated. The substance abuse is usually with dry things or some smoke they are inhaling inside. So Nasya with ghee is actually going to help them lubricate the passage and facilitate the good conduction of transmission of the good impulses via the nose, because nose is the bridge of the outer world to the inner world. And Grita is not at all contraindicated as Nasya. You can do that.
Any other questions? Swati is asking about Dhoompana for mental disorders.
Dhumrapana is usually done as a Paschatkarma of Panchakarma. We are usually doing it after Vamana, right? But as a therapeutic modality, we are using in case of, depressed patients more. Here we are not having those smoke sticks with tagara. We can make, or we can tell the pharmacies to make the Dhumrapan sticks like cigars, sophisticated ones. And they can be loaded with vacha or tagar. If it is with vacha, it is going to stimulate you and ease your depression. If it is with tagar, it is going to make you help go to sleep. So depending on the contents of the Dhumrapana, because it's easy for the Westerners to take and they know the concept of smoking, you can do that. But I would always prefer Grita before that, because otherwise it might cause too much of dryness and may not help your anxiety patients much. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I emphasize a lot on the intake of Grita in my personal practice, and that has given good results, because your blood-brain barrier, you need something to reach there, to act actually the herbs, and ghee is the right medium to reach. Mm-hmm. And Dhumrapan helps temporarily, it works. It stimulates, it takes you out, but not as a long-term method. No?
So then we also have a question by Mamta. So she's asking, what's the Ayurvedic perspective of use of cannabis for anxiety?
Cannabis. Okay. Yeah, now, since it is legalized here, yeah, we have to be very careful, of course, because it could be addictive. It is Vedana Sthapak according to Ayurveda, and patients who are having headaches or having disorientation of the mind, could be given with the refined formulation of bhanga or cannabis. Having pains and aches here and there, bhanga can do good results with the combination of brahmi and other brain tonics.
So I'm just going to give a little input because, with the legalization of, cannabis in Canada, there's also, like, cannabis typically has two components. One is the THC and one is CBD. So
Yes.
CBD is the non-psychotic one, so it's relaxed, inflammatory, but I was reading some research on anxiety and CBD. So CBD in low doses can actually help anxiety. But if the doses were increased, then it didn't really do anything for anxiety, right? It works for inflammation, it works for joint pain or severe pain.
Yes.
Cannabis is considered toxic in Ayurveda. Moninder is saying yes, for sure, but in higher doses, right? Because some is also used in preparations. So cannabis, we always studied as a part of toxicology, but
Yes.
in smaller amounts, we use it in formulations too.
Yeah, these vishas or the poisons act as catalysts actually.
Yeah.
So if you add little dose of them with some good thing like brahmi, ashwagandha and shatavari, then it can be a good combination. But alone, let's stay away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? We're almost at 8 o'clock. Okay, so Samir has a question about studying Ayurveda more. Where should we begin? So right now we are working with different, courses and different like schools of Ayurveda in Canada. It's still not as organized. So we don't there are different universities and stuff, but we, as a non-profit, we don't really recommend. Can Ayurveda help ADHD?
Yes, works very well.
Yeah.
ADHD is actually a kind of too much of rajas in children, right? And that's causing over activity, too much of
I think
restlessness.
her video is stuck.
So we need to treat it just on the lines of anxiety. The same way we are treating the patients of anxiety, almost same protocol, right? So if counseling works very well, if the child is not able to listen or understand what you are talking, expose him to the mantras, meditation, take him to the yoga classes, give him the herbs like jatamansi, valerian, brahmi, and ashwagandha, combination of that. Give him more ghee, massage him more frequently, take him to the places which have positive vibes like a temple, and take him to more restful situations. Don't take him to gym, don't take him to show a violent movie, all those rajasic influencing things and the junk food and the junk emotions. Don't fight in front of that child in the family. Tell those people who bring chocolates and coffee, cookies to them, that please don't bring these stuff to the children to feed them. Give them all the Sattvic diet at home, fresh vegetarian diet. Stay away from non-veg food because that also would be having some rajasic component. And a lot of ghee is really going to help. Medicated with brahmi would be wonderful. Yeah.
Okay, so any other questions? So Masha is asking whether, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. So any books or resources that you recommend to study the topic further? So what are your favorite books on psychiatry or mind?
Okay. Well, basic, I've started with the Ramharsh Singh because he has talked a lot about Manas Roga back in India. He was the main concept building person in my life who taught me psychiatry. Professor Ramharsh Singh and his books on psychiatry. Then we have, there's a book of clinical examination of mind by Krishnamurthy. That all talks about how to examine the mind. Then there is we have good books from David Frawley, which talks about Ayurveda as a mind, and Swabodha also. For the Westerners, they are easy to talk about in their language. So they are also good books, means in relation, to make a correlation with Ayurveda.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, that's good. Yeah. I really like Dr. Swabodha's even Prakriti, like the basic book. It has everything you need.
Very elaborate, very comprehensive.
For a basic book, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a question from Mamta, who's also saying that it's an excellent presentation. So can we please have a sequel focusing on practical treatment plans with common herbs available here? So we can definitely do that.
Yes. Herbs available here, and the yogas also, the compound formulations available here. Yeah, we can have the sequel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite, things is holy basil is really available here, which is tulsi.
Mm-hmm.
So with my experience, people who have a lot of trauma, right? And I was putting it on the Facebook group yesterday. So PTSD, any sexual trauma and all that, anything to do with your spiritual body, I really love holy basil. I use it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Bacopa Brahmi is readily available here. Nasya is really good. So Neelam actually has like Sevanti series, they have fantastic
Yes.
Nasya oils. They have fantastic massage oils as well. So that's,
They have a formulation called stress nil, which is working well.
yeah, which is pretty good too.
Stress nil is
So
very good to induce sleep and good results. Then you have
yeah,
Mayu Mantra Seri well,
yeah,
really good. You
that's
have
one thing. There's one by Metagenics known as Exhilarin, which I really like. So it's a combination of holy basil, bacopa, ashwagandha, and amla berry. So that works really well on people who are tired and just mentally exhausted.
okay, I
Um,
didn't know about that. So
yeah.
that's exhilarating.
Exhilarin, yeah. There's
Okay.
lavender essential oil by New Roots, which works instantly for anxiety. So we've had essential oils. A lot of people, like doTERRA is there, healthy living. There are like millions of essential oils, and they are all really good. But not a lot of research has been done on internal use. But the one by New Roots is actually safe for internal consumption. They're lavender oil capsules that you can find at health food stores
Yes.
that work well for some people. They work really well for some people.
Hmm. Okay.
So Samir is asking ghee, how much is too much, or how much ghee do you recommend?
See, to start with, it depends on your Agni status. So, first of all, you need to know the status of the Agni. If it is good, then 30 ml per day is a good dose to have every day. So you can mix it with as a achsne. Achsne means mix it with your rice or curry or dal or anything, or you can have it alone in the morning. Just if you are taking in the morning alone without any diet, mixing it with any other diet, then it is more therapeutic. So if it is treated with brahmi or shankapushpi, so it's a medicated ghee, and if you are taking it empty stomach in the morning and not taking any diet with it, leave it for in the stomach for 1 hour, it works better. But if you are taking as a achasane with other diets as well, it also works well. So just see the features of over snare or ati snare is when you are too lazy, or when you are belching, or when you feel that the smell of the ghee or the digestion is coming up, or when you're feeling heavy or bloated, that means the dose is getting excess. So no dose is fixed for all. You have to judge yourself as per the status of your Agni and educate the patient also in the same way.
That's great. So Rujita is asking a controversial topic. She's asking that food makes your thoughts is taught in Ayurveda. So how or which type of mausahar would you recommend? Because mausahar is contraindicated in mental disorders.
Yeah.
What combination would you recommend as modern medicine or nutrition point of view, good proteins to heal the nerve cells?
See, we have ghee to heal the nerve cells.
Yeah.
We are using ghee everywhere, and we are not. The logic behind not using non-veg food is very clear to my mind. Uh, because when you kill any animal, either he is afraid or he's angry, right? You all agree to that. And when you do that, there is a lot of adrenaline which is discharged in the body of that animal.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you kill him, you cut him down, you bake or make dishes out of him. That adrenaline is still there, which is coming to your body as well. So all those fright sympathetic, overstimulating substances which is present in the meat are coming to you. So specifically for psychiatric illnesses, this is contraindicated as per Ayurveda. So proteins you can supplement with nuts, because I'm saying every time eat a lot of almonds, walnuts, nuts, seeds, pumpkin seeds, eat a lot of fresh, dals. They are good source of proteins. Eat a lot of ghee. You can have dairy if you are, sure about that the dairy is good. You can have paneer, cheese, milk, warm milk. I told you 2 dishes as well. Shatavari mixed with milk, or ashwagandha mixed with milk. Put some dates into it. It's very good, nourishing for the mind. You don't need to eat animals to make your mind great.
Yeah. So, and there, you can also use quinoa, which is, a high protein grain.
Yes.
So that's something you can combine dal and rice to get complete proteins. Unless you're bodybuilding, you don't need a lot of protein. So there's a big myth when it comes to protein, right? Most people don't digest protein. Those who eat heavy protein.
All the sages, all the saints, all over the world, they are vegetarian. And they have the Sattvic Buddhi component very high.
Yeah.
Tell me, what non-veg proteins they are taking? They are so intellectually capable, intelligent, sattvically, they are great healers for the society. Anybody having the power to heal anyone must be great. So see what they are eating.
See, but one of the other things I've noticed again, and it's a huge debate between meat and non-meat, and it's been continued for, generations. And Charak also talks about a lot of non-vegetarian groups, right? When we come to the food groups, like everything is described, so they wouldn't be,
not for Manas Rogas.
Not for Manas Rogas, but for somebody who has like a body type who's a classical Vata, before a proper anxiety sets in. I have a lot of clients who have eaten meat for generations. They don't digest lentils, right? So the dals and stuff that we are used to, we can digest because our genetic makeup, right? Chickpeas, some of them, they cannot handle it, like especially, Western countries.
Tell them to cook with garlic and ginger and hing.
Yeah, so even something like fish would be a better alternative to meat, but that's totally up to them, But having a meatless day, you can start there. If you tell them to stop meat completely, you shock them. They never come back. So even starting with one meatless day, then you can kind of, start that, maybe turning it to fish.
Yes. Yeah. And specifically, the food should not be tamasic, not from the freezers or refrigerators and cooked in the microwaves. It has to be cooked fresh every day. So the importance of fresh cooking should be very well fed in their minds.
Yeah.
Because here in the West, they cook for the whole week and they eat the whole 5 days, which is actually very wrong, causing depression mainly in the patients here.
Yeah. So then we have what happens to someone who's vegan and they don't want ghee.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, vegans, they don't even touch. And I understand. That's
So the other things you can do is, I think, sesame oil or coconut oil. So coconut oil is going to work with Vata, Pitta both. And
Nasya, yes, coconut oil while cooking. Coconut oil for Nasya is also a very good remedy for them. Application on the body, Abhyanga with that, Nasya, and cooking with coconut oil really is a very good idea for them. Yeah.
So then I agree with your point. Non-veg food, I don't believe you can break tamas of mind with non-veg food. However, mouse and mausa fat have been indicated in the text for Vata. So they have been indicated for the text for a lot of other Vata symptoms, like tremors and all the Nanatmaj rog, but I don't, Manas rog, ideally, you should have like everything Sattvic, right? Because you're trying to increase the Sattva quality.
Component, yes. It is very clearly described there. Yeah, of course, in Ayurveda, in Rajakshma, it is written that give meat forcefully to the patient.
Yeah.
Give, you can cheat with the patient. You can mix the rice with some soup of meat. You have to give to heal the tuberculosis patient. So it's not that Ayurveda doesn't let you eat meat at all, but specifically when it comes to psychiatric disorders, specifically depression, it says stay away, please.
So there is another thing that I really like. So I found this when, I was like, I'm a very creative person. I like painting and all that. So I was having a creative blog. That's when I got a book. And there's something called morning pages that I use with all my clients. So what you do is you wake up early morning, you take some A4 size piece of paper and you write 3 pages of whatever comes to your mind. If you cannot think, just start writing, I cannot think, I cannot think, I cannot think. But just write literally whatever comes to your mind, just dump it on the piece of paper, right? Then you tear it and throw it away. You're not discussing it with anyone. You're not sharing it with anyone. You're not posting it on Facebook or something. So the logic is that in the morning, your subconscious mind is more active. So you are going to, if there's something bothering you, it's going to come up that time, right? If I start writing my journal at the end of the day, then I have good or bad experiences of the day. But if I just sleep and wake up and I've had a restful sleep, so my subconscious is more active. So anything that's bothering you is going to come out on paper. And when you tear it and throw it away, it's no longer, physically present. You can burn those pages. Make sure you don't burn your house when you're burning the pages. But it works amazing with my clients. It's known as morning pages. It's also on my website, on the blog. What are your views on taking Brahmi, Ashwagandha, etc. in a capsule form without the Anupan?
Well, if they are made well, if the concentration is good enough, and if they are not interrupting with the food, they may work. But if you are taking them with Anupan, of course they work better. So if you are taking them with ghee and milk and with warm water, and you are not touching food for half an hour or 1 hour after that, then it gets time to penetrate inside and work. Yeah.
Any other questions? It's already 8:21 and I know Dr. Gayatri has to go for a
Yeah, I'm actually dressed for a wedding. I need to attend a function.
So thank you so much. I'm just going to end this. If you have any more questions, you can just email us at info@ayurvedaassociation.ca. You can address it to Dr. Gayatri. I'll make sure she gets all the questions and we will get back to you with all the answers. We will have future series of, treatment protocols and all that. Thank you everyone who attended, and thanks for staying till the very end. Thank you so much, Dr. Gayatri. You have a busy day and you're still taking the time out. So I'm going to end this meeting now, and thanks again. Have a fantastic evening and we will see you all soon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Manjari. Thank you all. Thank you once again.